Hi, everybody. It's Karen Anderson here with Aortic for our week in review. I'm going to ask you to click like, click subscribe so that you're notified when we have live events. The week in review is an opportunity for us to share with everybody that might not be on Facebook some of the posts that we put up in the community, just keeping everybody educated and informed and inspired. And we are lucky to have our special co-host with us today. It's Miss Diane Bishop from Aortic Health Unlimited. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Right. So we're going to chit chat and be chit chatty today.
Yes, we are.
Let's start off with our Movement for Movement Monday. So, we talk about this every 2 weeks when we get into this article and this post, but I'm going to make it simple. We just need to move. So if you've had surgery, if you've been diagnosed, don't become hostage to this situation. Your doctors, I'm sure, have given you your personal restrictions, your areas of where you can exercise, what you can do. You need to just do it. And we started this back in 2020 prior to COVID. Who knew that COVID was going to lock us on down, all of us down? But what we've been hearing in the community is you've got people who are triathletes and they're able to work out afterwards, which is great. And then there's some people who are really curious to know, are there any studies? What is this exercise going to do? How's it impacting me? And then there's people on the other end of the spectrum that are like, I'm not moving because I'm too afraid to move. And it makes sense. And it's normal, right? Or some people like me that when I move, all of a sudden I get wonky numbers and things happen. And then I'm like, I don't want to move. So, but there's a lot of benefits to moving your body. And so not only physical health, but it's really great for your emotional and mental health. And in the health guide, there was an article titled The Mental Health Benefits of Exercise that really talked about how regular exercise can have a profoundly positive impact on depression, anxiety, and ADHD. It also relieves stress and improves your memory. It helps you sleep better. It boosts your overall mood. And you don't have to be a fitness fanatic to reap these benefits. Research indicates that modest amounts of exercise can make you feel a real difference. No matter your age or fitness level, you can learn to use exercise as a powerful tool to deal with mental health problems, improve your energy, your outlook, and get more out of life. So if you want to learn a little bit more about how exercise can specifically help with depression, anxiety, stress, ADHD, PTSD, all these other letters, check out the link on this post, and we're going to chit chat about moving and how this could help us emotionally. Give me some thoughts there, Diane.
I totally agree. Moving is very important. I mean, when you sit a long period of time, for me, myself, I know it's a difference getting up first thing early in the morning. It's good for me to jump up and jump in the shower and get moving, opposed to laying in bed 5 more minutes, snooze. And when I do that, it's harder to get up every time. But the minute I get in my mind, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get up. I'm going to move, take a shower. The shower seems to wake up my body, and a glass of water. Then I'm able to pretty much conquer the day, or attempt to conquer the day.
Well, good for you that you jump out of bed. If I tried to jump anywhere, I'm bound to break something or pull something. So I'm definitely more of I kind of slowly roll out and think, what did I break while I was asleep? But no, seriously, there are times where there are just those days. Like yesterday for me, the heat just overwhelmed me and I just didn't do anything. I mean, I went out, did some antiquing and came home, and that was it. I was down for the count. And as a matter of fact, my husband came in and out of the room. I was binge watching the morning show on Apple. And he would say, make sure you're doing your ankle pumps because I haven't seen a lot of movement from you in the last 2 hours. So, he notices it. He gets it too. And I will say that I'm going to be taking a flight soon. It's about an 11-hour flight. And part of me is thinking about this already. How am I going to move my body while I'm in a plane for that many hours? I mean, we're at risk, some people for blood clots and other circulatory issues. So I know that I'm going to Google some tips for working out on a plane. You know what? That sounds like a post coming up. I think I'm going to find a post for that soon. But and I do get nervous. I get nervous when it's super hot to work out. I get nervous when it's super cold. It just impacts me physically, but I know I have to do something. So I'm going to be moving around a lot packing. That should constitute as my exercise. But
There
there
you
is
go.
something to it, right? Don't you find if you do move, if you are at least exercising a little bit, you are sleeping better, you feel better that you've, gotten up, jumped out of bed and started your day instead of just laying around. So I agree that there's definitely these benefits, as there's also benefits to just doing nothing, which is doing something.
Exactly.
So yeah, but not when it's hot. I'm just moving to the pool. That's where I'm moving to. All right, let's see if we can go ahead and move on to our topic Tuesday. So topic Tuesday was an interesting one, and I know everybody has questions about this. Many of us in the community are required to have routine blood work, and it checks really a variety of things. And this could be your kidney function, your INR, your potassium, just to name a few. But according to the article, blood work results in ADA, a blood test is typically composed of three main tests, and I'm sure we've all heard of these. This would be a CBC, or complete blood count, a metabolic blood count, and as well as a lipid panel. So each of these tests, they actually test for completely different things, and you can understand a lot about what's going on in someone's body just through analyzing the blood tests. So the article that's in here, it's amazing if you look in here, because it really gives you a lot of acronyms, and everything that you've ever seen before. So let me see, let me X off of this. So you will have actually everything, explaining even the way that they measure the liters, the measurements, the basis for milliliters. And then it's going to explain to you, for instance, if you have a CBC, like what does a white blood count, what does that number actually represent that's going on in your body? What does the differential white blood count mean? And all of these, you will see neutrophils, lymphocytes, all of these things are in your blood test results, but maybe you just never knew how important they were and what they meant. And I was looking at this earlier when I was going through the metabolic panel, which tells a little bit more about your livers, your kidney functions. And I just think I personally thought it was so interesting, because I'm one of those that like to study my blood tests and also study the results from the past. I kind of look at a graph to tell, is anything changing? Is it steadily on the rise? Is my glucose when I'm fasting? Is my sugar levels going up? Things like that. So now I have a better understanding on my own blood work. And I know people who have noticed patterns and trends and then brought that to the physician's attention. And then they discovered there was something there. I mean, think about how many people your personal physician sees as patients. They're not going to remember all of your blood work or necessarily think to look up the last year of blood tests that you've had to do this comparison study. They're looking now to see if your levels are high or are low. So I have to sneeze. It just went away as I said that. I was about to sneeze. It was sitting right there. My eyes started twitching. But in all seriousness, so I think that this really could help people. Did you get a chance to look at this? I don't know how much you knew about your own blood work.
No.
It's really interesting. Just to read all of these, I don't really understand a lot of it, but there's, alkalines and total proteins and creatinine and BUN. That's all showing your liver and your kidney functions. And I just think it's interesting. I started looking at blood work when I was reading my CRP levels, which I don't remember what that stands for, but I know it represents inflammation in your body, because having Crohn's disease, my GI doctor could tell a lot of what was going in without even having to look by the results of this test. If you're supposed to be 0 to 4 and I'm running at a 30, well, we know I'm having a Crohn's flare, that plus my symptoms. So I just think that for a lot of people, blood tests can really show a lot, and either give you comfort or potential questions that you might want to bring to your physician's attention. So, got any thoughts on blood?
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts about blood work?
Well, it was through the blood work that they found out that I had a vitamin D deficiency. On top of back a couple years back, that's how they found out that I had lupus. But the
Hmm.
vitamin D deficiency, and I was feeling so bad. I did not know how much it really affected you. And it's just once a week I got to take like this one pill every Monday I take, and it's like 50,000 BTU, but it's like a super strong vitamin that's only through a prescription. I can't get it over the counter. But
Right.
it's, kind of amazing. I don't sit there and count numbers so much because I got enough problem as it is. But being that that showed up and something that's a problem and it was brought to my attention, it's really beneficial to know.
Right.
That's when I'm taking it then.
Exactly. And you know what else can cause like B3. So if you're deficient, or B2 rather, if you're deficient, you're going to start feeling maybe a higher degree of fatigue, and cramping could be indicative of low potassium. And potassium is
Right.
very important for your heart, as is magnesium. So, if you're feeling these symptoms, and all you need is a simple blood test to tell exactly where your levels are. I mean, blood work will also show if you're dehydrated. Who knew?
Right.
I didn't realize that either. So pretty interesting. But at least what I loved about this is it really explained a lot of details of what parts of your body these tests actually cover. So that
Hmm.
was Tuesday. All right, we are moving on to Therapeutic Thursday. And I'm wondering if you've ever heard of body scan meditation. Did you ever hear of that? Body
Nope.
scan meditation. I'd never heard of it either. But according to Very Well Mind, in an article written by Dr. Elizabeth Scott, it was titled Body Scan Meditation, Release Tension with this Targeted Meditation Technique. Dr. Scott explains that sometimes you can be so caught up in stress that you don't realize the physical discomfort that you're experiencing, such as a headache, a back or shoulder pain, tense muscles. It's actually all connected to the emotional state of mind that you're in. Body scan meditation is actually a good way to release physical tension, and you might not even realize that you're experiencing that physical tension. Body scanning involves paying attention to parts of the body and your bodily sensations in a gradual sequence from feet to head. So by mentally putting yourself in a state of relaxation and just scanning, doing a body check, a body scan, you actually bring awareness to every single part of your body. You have an opportunity to notice any aches or pains, any tension, or just general discomfort. The goal is not to relieve yourself from that pain completely, but it's to get to know and to learn from it so you can better manage it. And the technique is really very simple to do. They go into how you get started, and it's meant to be very simple. And maybe it was called something else at one point, but I know I've done this. You just want to get in a very comfortable position. Again, if you feel comfortable, discuss this with your doctor. A lot of this is just you could do while you're laying in bed, but at least let them know if you're doing some form of meditation. I believe in getting everything cleared, but preferably you want to be lying down in a very comfortable position. They say to kind of do this before you go to sleep, but you take a few breaths, and they'll go into all the details here on how to do the nice breathing exercises. And then you basically start at your feet, and you just really focus your attention on sensations that you feel in your feet, anything that you might be feeling, a tickle, an itch, an ache, any kind of sensation. And as you're feeling it, do you notice that you feel any emotions when you feel the sensation? You might not feel anything, but if you have an ache, you might feel something. And they say if you just try to gently breathe through it, it should help that connection move forward. So once you feel any kind of uncomfortable sensations, then you want to focus your attentions on them and then breathe into that sensation, that physical feeling, and visualize the tension that you might be feeling in that part of your body. Visualize it leaving your body with every breath that you take, every breath that you exhale. And when you feel like that sensation maybe has dissipated or left, then you move on. And you're basically scanning your entire body, noticing the tensions and the built up sensations in various parts as you do the breathing exercises. And anytime you feel stressed, we tend to hold that like in our neck and our shoulders. They say if you just take a minute and just deep breathe and just feel it and focus on letting that sensation leave as you're exhaling, that it should really help. So I don't know if you've ever done this before. I've tried a variation of it, and I tried it again after I read the article, and I feel like it kind of works. Have you ever
You want
tried
to try
something
it
like
again?
this? You
No.
want to try it right now?
Do we have enough airtime?
You know, I don't. The question would be if I laid down, no one would be able to see me. You would eventually hear me snoring. I don't know how. You know, though we may hear that makes for good viewing experience. I don't know, but it's something to try. You know, especially if you're struggling, falling asleep, if you're just not comfortable,
Hmm.
just you know, breathe through it. I know there was one type of meditation technique where they wanted you to create tension. They wanted you to squeeze a muscle, like squint your toes, and then breathe out and relax your toes, and then squint your calf and just you're squinching. It's not the word, but you're create tensions.
I'm over here laughing. I got another visual, but go ahead.
Because I'm saying squinching, just squinch and create tension in the body parts. And then when you release it, it just feels so good because now it's relaxed. Nobody wants to be squinched, right? It's not the right
So,
word.
in other words, this helps you feel good. So, if I'm having test
Yeah.
day, squeeze my butt cheeks and release.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Just clench them really tight there, Diane. And then when you let them go, you should feel a lot more relaxed.
Oh,
And then
thank you.
when you know when your husband comes by and you got this face, he'll say, "What are you doing?" I'm squinching my butt cheeks, getting rid of stress.
Oh,
Woo. Mm,
okay. Moving right along.
moving right along. All right, we are moving, and this is fun too because you know what? We've got some stuff coming up. We'll get to September in a minute. We're going to talk about it, but it actually starts right now. This past Friday was our Feel Good Friday, and Aortic Disease Awareness Month starts September 1st. Why do we say it's a whole month when some people say it's one day, some people say
Oh,
it's a week? Because there's just so much information to go over for the entire month. It's way too much information. And at one point in time, Facebook used to have this ability to put frames. Remember those
mhm.
days, frames around? Well, now they've structured it where you can only use very specific frames that they have. They don't let you create it. They got rid of everything. So we thought, why not turn your profile pics and all of your social media for the month of September into a sea of the red hearts, our logo. Or you can also use the awareness ribbon that exists. It'll get people talking when enough people start seeing, the same logo over and over again. People will start wondering, what is this? And what does it mean? And that's the whole idea, is to get people to start that conversation about aortic disease. So starting September 1st, I've seen a few people already change their profile pic. I've changed mine and I keep confusing myself. I keep thinking I'm on the organization's webpage, but I'm not. I'm on my own. So like my memory is bad. But yeah, I think for the month of September, changing it to something at this point, it doesn't matter. Just anything that's related to the cause will get people talking.
Mhm.
Great way to get started. And that's what we were talking about just a minute ago. The information that's going to be presented for September, the way that we do it is we take you through what is your aorta? Where is it? What does it look like? What does it do? And then we move into all the different things that can happen to it. We discuss aneurysms, bicuspid valve, genetic causes, connective tissue causes. How do you fix these issues? What is a dissection? What happens with that? What are some of the emotional, mental impacts of having aortic disease? What are the medications we take? What are the parameters for exercise? PTSD, what types of therapies can you have? If you need disability, who you call. I mean, we've got it all covered. It's a big month, you guys. It's a big month. Sprinkled in there, a ton of contests, ton of fun. Got to have some fun. Sprinkled right
Yes.
through there. All right. So, yeah, gonna wait and see if you change your logo, your profile pic. Doesn't have to be that. Looking to see what it'll be. Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
Make it that lady,
Uh,
aortic strong.
Speaking of which, I got it.
There you go, aortic strong. There she is. I was
Hmm.
just looking, seeing my
I'm
muscle.
working on the male version for that.
You should. That'd be great.
Yes. Absolutely.
All
Busy
right.
month, like you said.
Heck yeah. So I don't know if you got a chance to read the most recent survivor story. It was Jen Schaefer. And what I loved about her story, and it was written, it wasn't a video, is everybody's own take on their dissection or their diagnosis is so different, and yet it's all the same, right? But she really, the fact that she was able to remember so much detail about her experience, and it wasn't so much what she remembered, and she received golden standard of care, she got in timely basis, everything. It was her takeaway on being an advocate for yourself, on feeling your body, listening, and it was her ability to want to learn so much about this condition in hopes of preventing any future emergencies. So if you didn't get a chance to read it, you should. But I highly encourage anybody. Diane has been a survivor before on our page. Participate, and she'll tell you. As a matter of fact, why don't you tell everybody why it's so important to participate and tell your
So
story?
important because you never know whose life you could touch. A lot of people, especially if their first time go around, don't know what to expect, if this is normal. You'd be surprised. I mean, at some point in life, how many people actually had considered suicide at one time? And that's a very touchy subject, and a lot of people don't admit it. But sometime, a point in life, I think everybody has crossed that or is somewhere in the family member. But it's so important to share the information, and the little bit that you share could have a big impact on someone's life.
That's right. And that's why
Yep.
we encourage people to share their story, because first of all, you're going to impact somebody else. Even if for whatever reason you think your story pales in comparison to someone else's, which is crazy, you're validating their own experience. You're
Right.
going to create questions for them to say, hey, I talked with somebody, this is what they did, this is what their experience is, this is in their family, should we look into my family? So it runs the gamut on the trickle down effect of sharing your story. And you actually have an opportunity to share your story in written form, in a pre-recorded video, or go live like we are. And maybe even interact with people that might be watching you and answer some questions. So we highly encourage you to share,
Yes, ma'am.
sprinkle some of your story onto others.
Sprinkle.
All right, Sunday, Maimonides Medical Center, they are doing a follow-up to their PTSD survey, which they first shared
Oh,
with us last year. And we are very happy again to assist their Department of Psychiatry with distributing this survey. Even if you've taken it before, we encourage you to take it again. It actually helps study the impact of aortic disease and mental health and on mental health and lifestyle. The result of this survey will actually help provide a much more accurate picture of the emotional and mental health of individuals who experience aortic disease, including their caregivers. That's an important part.
oh
And so,
yes.
yep, our goal, and I know that you've shared this too, our goal is to reach as many people as we can. Again, if you've taken it before, take it again. And I think what you'll find interesting is when you take it again, it really brings to light where you are now versus where you were last year, which is amazing. And I wish that we could see our own personal results to compare. Like, how did I answer that question last year? But I know that that's kind of impossible because it's so anonymous. But if you get a chance to, take it again, and what you're going to ultimately do is help the doctors realize this actual connection between our emotional health and what we experience that could probably, that's traumatic and whatnot, and help them formulate a better plan of care and in taking care of our brains and our emotions when we come out of this and we're into the road of recovery. So did you take your survey, Diane?
Not yet. No survey. No survey. But I know with PTSD, I do know I come a long way with it, but it's still a struggle. But I do know that it's something normal, that no, it's not just me. I'm more aware of it, and I know how to handle it.
And there's so many ways to handle it. And I think the
Right.
key is realizing that this might actually be what it is. And it's not just a
Yes.
nightmare. It might not be just an isolated event. And it doesn't mean that everybody gets PTSD that's had a dissection or that's had their aneurysm repaired. That's not the case at all. It just means that maybe you need to learn a little bit more about what you're experiencing, and collectively do those symptoms mean that you're experiencing PTSD? Because if you are, there's no reason to have to suffer. There's so many things that you can do to alleviate that and make you more comfortable. You've already gone
Mhm.
through the worst of it. This is the easy part.
Exactly. And
Right.
very, very important, Karen, and you have said it before, it's not just patients, it's also caregivers.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to check in to see if we had anybody join us today. But it's the end of summer. We got kids going back to school, people still on
Mhm.
vacations. So we've got a quiet lobby today, but that's okay, because I have a feeling people are going to have a lot to say in September, especially when we announce that when people participate with us here live in September, they're going to have an opportunity to possibly win some things from us, possibly. Although the first 2 weeks of September are going to be pre-recorded, hopefully with you by my side. We'll be doing some pre-recording because that's the time that some people take their vacations, and we've got a business trip coming up with some of our
Mhm.
partners overseas. Members of Aortic will be meeting with the Aortic Dissection Awareness Group from the UK and Ireland as they present some of their research information and other things regarding Think Aorta. I know Ben Udelman will be speaking from Maimonides Medical Center, Dr. Ben Udelman.
Mhm.
So you got to get all the way over there. It's like an 11-hour flight where I'm going, but it's going to be well worth it
Yes, it will.
once you get there. All right, Diane, you got anything exciting going on as you move into Labor Day weekend?
It's my birthday.
That's right. It is, because your birthday's the same day as my hubby's.
Yes, me and
Yeah,
hubby are Virgos,
that's right.
and also the 25th of August, which was day before yesterday, was my aortic anniversary. My very first time that I dissected, and then it was in May. It's been marked a year since my valve replacement, so I'm chugging right along.
Yes, you
But
are. Choo choo.
choo choo. But we've got a lot of great things going on as well. We're getting ready for our fundraisers. And let me see. Hopefully, maybe I could go live on one of the events. We'll have to see, how the people feel, about going live. But again, this is all to raise money and help raise awareness and help us continue with our work, and help, um, collaborating with you, Rock from the Heart, and other great organizations that's out there. And keep in mind that there's Carmen David out there doing her thing, and Aortic Hope. You have Peter Sy. You have other organizations. So there's so many places that you could reach out for help. So keep your eyes open. There's
Yep.
something for everybody, and you're not alone. And we're gonna laugh, we'll cry, we're gonna have a good time, and we're gonna have some fun and
Yes, you
learn.
brought up a really good point. I know Carmen David, who started
Yes.
Run for Aortic Health, which you can find that if you Google it. I believe it's on Facebook. Her
Uh-huh.
run is coming up on September 18th. It is in Texas.
Mhm.
However, you do not need to be present to participate in her run. You can do it virtually. Just click on the registration form. I've got some of her medals. I've done this virtual walk
Mhm.
with them. I've sent pictures in, and it's just kind of nice knowing that this is going on at the same time that I'm here in
Right.
Maryland taking a little walk. And I love the t-shirts, and I love the medals. And the bulk of her money is donated to the John Ritter Research Program, and
Mhm.
then there's some other money that is set to the side for some other aortic specific charities and organizations. And
Mhm.
Rock from the Heart is wrapping up their auction tonight. They're wrapping up their auction tonight on August 29th, but all of their funds are going to help them put on 3 spectacular events in 2023. The first one will be happening in Minnesota. The second one will be happening in Maryland in April. And the third one's happening in North Dakota in May.
Mhm.
So can't say anything more about it. Zip, zip. But Her events basically involve a symposium on a Friday afternoon, all day, opportunity for meet and greets. And then the next day on a Saturday, it involves a VIP event, if you're part of that, as well as a phenomenal concert. So what a great way to bring people together and be able to have that education and awareness over music. Who doesn't have a great time singing and dancing together? You know?
I do.
I know you do, with
do.
kitty cat ears.
Yes, I got to look for my kitties again.
Yes, you do. All right, I think that wraps it up for today. Our last weekend review that we're going live in the month of August. And then we will see you next week for the weekend review on September 6th, which will be pre-recorded, but please don't hesitate to leave us a comment anyway, as will the following week, which will be on the 12th, will be pre-recorded as well. We will be back here live with you on September 19th, Aortic Disease Awareness Day. That's when we're going to have some fun. Toot toot. So people need to join us. We're going to be giving all kinds of things away, I think, that day. It's going to be a fun day.
Be fun.
But thank you. Thank you for joining.
As always.
All right, everybody, don't forget to click like and click subscribe. Hit the little bell so you're notified when we go live. And we will talk soon. Take care.